9 o'clock. We're going to have our invocation by Pastor Eddie Steith from the Church of the Heights, and our Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Terry Turner. All rise if you're able to do so.
Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to come together and just to take care of the business for Putnam County. Father, I thank you for each one of the commissioners. I thank you for each of the staff, Father, that work tirelessly to make decisions and to help our county to advance. Lord, I thank you right now that we have the best county in Northeast Florida. And Lord, I thank you that the best is not yet to come, but the best is here and now. And Father, as we discuss business today, I pray for unity, I pray for wisdom, and I pray for insight. Lord, I pray that you would continue to bless this great county. I ask you to continue to bless the commissioners and their families. Would you bless the workers for our county and their families, Lord? Let your favor be upon this county and continue to open up the heavens above and pour out your blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Eddie, and thank you, Commissioner Turner. We're going to deviate from our schedule for just a second, our agenda, and bring up our friends with the Florida Army National Guard, and they have a little conversation they want to have. So if y'all will come up to the microphone. And you can pull that microphone right up to you.
Okay. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. Well, good morning. Thanks for having us aboard. We are happy to be here. My name is Colonel Stephen Pierce. I'm the 125th Operations Group Commander for the Florida Air National Guard. I'm here today with several other members of the Florida National Guard. We sincerely thank you for having us and for allowing us to make a statement this morning. Okay. The Florida Air National Guard is conducting an investigation into the noise complaint that occurred the morning of March 2nd and the resulting property damage claims. At this time, we do not have information on the timeline of the completion of the investigation, and since it's an ongoing investigation, we cannot answer questions at this time about it. The 125th Fighter Wing has been a proud member of the Northeast Florida community for over 80 years, and we're committed to being a good neighbor and continuing to do everything we can to maintain our readiness while minimizing any impacts to the surrounding community and your constituents. If your constituents have experienced damage, the Air Force has a process to assist affected residents, and we've prepared a handout to help them through the claims process. We will leave the handout with you afterwards to make copies with email addresses, phone numbers, etc. For your constituents. This is the only way to file a claim with the Air Force is through this process. So each person or household will need to file individually. The point of contact for the process is the Patrick Space Force Base Legal Office. Their contact information is on the handout. The handout we're providing has all the contact information and instructions on how to file. And please reach out to the Patrick Space Force Base Legal Office with any questions regarding claims for this or any other questions. If someone has damage, or your constituents have damage to their property, and in preparation for their claim, we ask that they take plenty of pictures. And then please remove any dangerous items, so broken glass, etc. And then keep those photos and safeguard those to use in the claims process. Again, we're beyond grateful. I personally come down here a lot. We're beyond grateful for you to have us here today. I love Palatka. As I told a couple of you, my kids play down here with golf a lot. So we love this area. It's great to be back here. But we're very grateful for the many years of support you've provided the military and the surrounding communities, and we thank you and ask for your patience as we conduct the investigation.
Thank you.
Thank you so
much. Now, I believe you gave those pamphlets to Ashley, correct?
We did.
She has that.
We did.
We'll get those ready for the public, but we thank you for coming down and explaining that situation. Have a wonderful day, and we can always move to Putnam County. We'd love to have you.
I love it.
Okay?
Reminds me where I grew up, so
thank you,
we
sir.
appreciate you. And
thank you for your service to our great country.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Commissioners, our next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the minutes for the Board of County Commissioner regular meeting dated February 13th, 2024.
Proper motion, proper second.
Mr. Chairman, I have a correction.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I have a correction. On page 12, down about the middle of the page, and it's a roll call vote that was pertaining to the bridge lights. I believe the roll call should be District 1, no, District 2, yes, District 3, no, District 4, yes, and District 5, yes. And it has District 3 as a yes. So
I amend my second with the correction.
Okay. So let's make sure District 1 was a
is a no.
no,
District-
District 2 was a yes, District 3 was a no, District 4 was a yes, and District 5 was a yes.
Yes, I just want that to be corrected.
Okay, so the motion has been amended,
I amend my motion.
okay, to reflect the changes. Is there any other discussion, Mr. Turner? No? Well, good deal. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. We're going to recess the Board of County Commission meeting and call to order our Port Authority meeting, and the chair will entertain a motion on the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the Port Authority regular meeting minutes from February 13th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, we have proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. Item number B, the RFQ, Putnam County Port Development Plan. Mr. Sam Sullivan, are you taking that for us today?
Commissioner Procurement can take that as well.
Okay.
That is the RFQ, that is the rank order. We are just here today as part of the RFQ process to allow the commission to approve the rank order. We will return once that rank order is done with a hopefully negotiated contract, which will be done in rank order.
Thank you. Any comments you'd like to make, Mr. Sullivan?
No, sir. We had two companies bid. Mr. Tilton and Mr. Stout joined me on the evaluation committee. We unanimously selected these firms in this order, and we'd like the Port Authority to proceed and allow us to negotiate a contract with the top firm.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of rank order.
Second.
Proper motion, we have proper second. Any further discussion on the motion at hand? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. Mr. Suggs, you had your light on, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. No, for after the vote, that's fine, Mr. Chairman. Just want to let you know that we've went ahead and scheduled a second Port Authority meeting for the month of March, so that if we get this contract negotiated, we can come back at the next meeting and get it approved, so we can get to work on the
Good deal.
on the project.
Moving faster than government does, right? Thank you, sir.
Don't jinx it.
I hear you. Okay, the next item is our crane removal discussion. Mr. Turner, are you doing that?
I will.
Okay.
Okay, we have a business out next to our property at the port, and the crane that we've been wanting to take down for the last 6 years, but just haven't seemed to get around to it. We've had the gentleman that owns the business next to it because it's in the way of him being able to access our port. He has offered, if we can get with the attorney, that he has offered to hold the county harmless and take the crane down at his expense. Now, that's still got to be an agreement that our attorney will review and agree to and make sure we're not at liability. But that should save the county in the neighborhood of about $45,000, which is the last price that I heard that we had to take the crane down. The next item on the list is the dockage discussion. They kind of go hand in hand, Mr. Chairman. Okay. As repayment to the business next door for taking the crane down, I would also like to propose that for the next 2 years, because I don't think anything's going to happen there within the next couple of years other than some rebuilding of the bulkhead, and he can work around that with us or whatever. I think that we need to let him use the dockage for 10% of the regular dockage fee that we would use for the next 2 years to help him pay back. Now, that would not keep him from having to schedule his barges coming in or any of that, just like a normal, any other business would have to do, or if the other business out there that from time to time uses our facility, Veritas, they would still have to go through Sam and have the scheduling done or whatever to make sure this happens. This gentleman's probably talking about using this dock, if everything works out according to the current plan, probably a couple of times a week for the next couple of years. So I think that would only be a fair thing to do if they can work out the liability that our attorney approves.
Thank you. And also, there's a drainage pipe right there that needs to be cleaned up in that little cove area, but I'm sure we can make arrangements for that. So basically, your thing is, Commissioner Turner, if I'm hearing you correctly, is he's gonna take it down at his expense, but he'll get some sort of credit applied to him so he can dock there for the next few years. I think
about 10% of the normal dockage fee, and it should work out to about the same money, but.
I think that's very good.
And the thing about it is, it's impressed me about this whole situation, it seems, is that they haven't ever come to us and asked us for any kind of incentives.
Right.
Any tax incentives, they haven't anything, and they've got a business going there that's employing like 15 or 20 people, and it's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger as they go on through this. It's called gypsum to gypsum. I guess they take old gypboard from different places and they recycle it and they sell it to Certainty or whatever. So, and now I guess they're gonna have to ship in gypsum from other places or something, and that's what he was trying to do, is get it to where he could get it in a usable condition and then sell it to a Certainty or whatever. So we're really supporting two businesses in the county by trying to make this happen, which is what the port should be doing. It's all about economic development, helping the businesses and do whatever. So when this was presented to me, I just really didn't see a downside to it for the county, especially if they're willing to work with us when we're going through our reconstruction of the bulkhead, which we got, if the governor doesn't veto it, I think we got a legislative appropriation this year coming to be able to do some of the work on that bulkhead. And so they'll have to do the scheduling or whatever, just like anybody else would that wanted to use the facility during that time. We're not turning it over to them. We're just letting them use it for a reduced price to offset the cost of the crane. So
I think it's a great idea. Mr. Adams, you have the floor?
Yeah, I'm all for that as long as we put some sort of do not exceed on it, like 50 grand or something like that. Like if they end up being there all day, every day, we don't want it to be where they're taking up the bulkhead completely. So I love the idea. I don't even mind if we gave it to them for free until that money was repaid to them, even a little extra. So I'd love to do that with a do not exceed of 50,000 if we think it would be 40,000 to take down something like that. Or
if I may, Mr.
You may,
Chairman,
yeah.
the only thing that concerns me about that is that the Development Authority, the Port Authority, that their number one reason for being in existence is to try to do economic development, to try to help people. We gave Certainty tax incentives. We gave other businesses, when Camarco came in, we sold them the building for $300,000 or $400,000 under the appraised value of the building. That's worked out well. It's a true success story. So I don't think this needs to be a dollar for dollar necessarily, because they haven't asked for any other incentives. They haven't asked for any other help that we could have asked for. They're doing it on their own merits. I thought it was very nice of them not to just come in here and ask us to tear the crane down and they'd pay their own dockage. So I really think that we just need to do this.
yeah, and that's why I think I offered a little bit extra money for incentives. So
Understood. Mr. Pickens, you have the floor?
Yeah, I guess in the agreement, it would be if for some reason there was damage due to the usage of the bulkhead, would that be worked out? That they would pay for that?
Well, I believe that would be in their dockage,
In the dockage.
their dockage contract, just like anybody else that uses the bulkhead, any business wheresoever, they would be responsible or liable for any damages that they perform that happens while they're there. So it wouldn't be any different in that at all that I could see.
Okay.
Mr. Suggs, you had a comment you'd like to make?
Not a comment, just a follow-up. Now that the Port Authority has given direction to administration on how they want to move forward with this, I think it might be prudent for us to go ahead and sit down with Mr. Stapleton, our county attorney, and Mr. Sullivan's port manager, get everything lined up as far as the agreement to remove the crane, sit down and talk with Mr. Stapleton and get an idea of what the next 2 years may look like, and bring something back, some type of formalized plan back to the Port Authority for final approval at that time. That way everybody's on board with exactly what it is that we're trying to accomplish here.
Thank you.
If the board doesn't mind, I would like to attend that meeting.
I would not.
That is absolutely fine with administration.
Yeah, let me get to Mr. Adamsack, and we'll get back to you, Mr.
I'll just say this, I can't get there without some sort of limitation. I don't know what that limitation looks like. There is a limitation on every other project you mentioned. As far as how many employees they were going to do, there was requirements on both sides. So maybe the limitation's a little more than 50 grand, something like that, but I can't get there without some sort of limitation. Thank you.
All right.
Well, I
So-
think what we're going to end up doing, if I'm understanding correctly, is have this meeting and actually bring the deal back to the board for final approval. So at that point, maybe it will be something in there that will satisfy you. We'll see.
So let me clean this up real quick. So Commissioner, I have no problem with Commissioner Turner spearheading this idea and bringing this back. I would like it to come back soon, very soon, if we could sit down and get this done. Maybe within the next 30 days, have some type of at least concept. Don't have to have an agreement, but we need to be moving forward. And also, if you'll keep in mind, Commissioner Turner, that drainage pipe that comes off of our building drains into that area. So whatever we can do to kill 2 or 3, I don't want to say that, solve problems at one time, that might be the answer there. So is that amenable to you?
Yes, sir, I don't mind at all. I don't know if we can get it done in 30 days or not. I will certainly try.
Why don't you update us in 30?
I'll try to do that. We'll try to update where we are. I think this,
Okay.
we have private industry included in this also that their time is very pressed.
Okay.
And even though he is with us this morning, thank you for coming, Mr. Stapleton. Even though he's with us this morning, I've got to get Rich together. Me, Rich, the staff, and Mr. Stapleton all in the same room. So, yes, we will do our best to get it done as soon as possible, or update you at the first meeting of next month on how it's coming.
Good deal. So we don't need to take a vote, but I think we can waive in support. So is everybody on board to move this forward? Everybody? Okay. So you've got the marching orders, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Commissioner Turner, bringing that forward. We appreciate it very much. Is there any public comment on Port Authority items? This is the time for Port Authority items only. And seeing no one to the podium, then we're going to move on to general discussions. Board, is there any other general discussions? Seeing none, I'll recess the Port Authority and reconvene the Board of County Commission meeting. And our first presentation is National Safe Place Week. I've asked Commissioner Wilkinson to read that proclamation. Is anybody here from the National Safe Place? Okay, come on up, please, and Commissioner Wilkinson will meet you at the... Thank you for being here today.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Putnam County Proclamation Number 2024-021, recognizing March 17th through 2024 as National Safe Place Week. Whereas the youth of Putnam County will determine the future strength of our county, of our country, and be the bearers of our democracy. Whereas youth need a safe haven from various negative influences such as child abuse, substance abuse, depression, and crime, and youth need readily available resources to assist them when faced with circumstances that compromise their safety. Whereas the Safe Place program is committed to protecting the youth of Putnam County by offering access to immediate help and safety for young people seeking assistance and guidance. Whereas designated locations where youth can get information and immediate help, safe place is found at businesses such as restaurants, convenience stores, movie theaters, and community buildings such as fire stations, libraries, and public transportation. Whereas the success of Safe Place is based on public-private collaborations between businesses, school systems, fire departments, law enforcement, and a network of volunteers. Whereas Putnam County is committed to demonstrating the importance of youth safety, prevention, and community responses to identified needs. Whereas the Safe Place program must meet performance standards relative to outreach and community relations to receive direct federal assistance as set forth in the Runaway and Homeless Youth Act. Whereas more than 1,500 communities in 38 states administer the Safe Place program at more than 22,000 locations. Whereas more than 387,000 youth have been helped at a Safe Place location or received counseling by phone as a result of Safe Place information received at school and through community presentations. Whereas since program inception in 1983, more than 15 million youth have been educated through National Safe Place Network's Safe Place outreach efforts, familiarizing them with the Safe Place sign and providing them with information about how to seek help in order to stay safe. Whereas increased awareness will encourage more communities to establish Safe Place locations where youth can readily access the help they need. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Putnam County Commission recognizes the week of March 22nd through 29th, let me change this. This isn't quite right. March 17th through the 23rd, 2024 as National Safe Place Week, and calls upon the people of Putnam County and interested groups to promote awareness of and volunteer involvement in the Safe Place program and observe the week with appropriate ceremonies and activities. Mr. Chair, I move approval of proclamation number 2024-021.
Second.
Proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Or do you want to say anything?
Would you like to say something? Please.
My name is Alex Colbreth. I'm the Regional Director at CDS Family and Behavioral Health Services here in Putnam County. I've been with the agency about 7 years, and we just want to thank everybody for their support. All the proclamations over the years has shone a light on the project, so just thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Adams-Ack.
So just for the public's awareness, because this is a public meeting and it is broadcast out and some people do watch it, where are the safe places in Putnam County today?
They're all over the county. Every bus with Ride Solution is made a safe place. The Safe Place coordinator goes around the county to every school, Home Depot, other places like that. They're safe places. It's just an education program, and the places all over the county are just instructed on how to recognize youth that would be in the Safe Place program and instruct those personnel at each site of how they can contact us and reach out to us at CDS Family and Behavioral Health Services here in Putnam County or in other counties, the lead county that administers that program, to get those children to a safe place.
And who's that lead county? Is that St. John's for a safe place?
It's all over.
Okay.
Yeah, just the lead as far as who is in that county. Like
Gotcha.
here, it is CDS.
Okay.
So we do that. So I'm not sure all over who does it in each county, but we lead that here. So we bring the children into the shelter. We contact their parents to make sure of what's going on, if other services are needed.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you like to get a picture with us? We'll come down.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilkinson, for doing that presentation, that proclamation. Our next item is Heather Pogue, UF IFAS 4-H agent, and Jamie Dockery with an award-winning speech. That's very riveting. Jamie, thank you for being here. And again, feel comfortable with us, okay?
Good morning. First of all, of course, as always, we just want to thank you for the support of the Putnam County 4-H program. We appreciate the opportunity to be here today and to let Jamie share a piece of her speech that she did in our county events, and we'll be going on to our district events in May and hopefully on to state in July. So thank you for having us, and we appreciate your support as always.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jamie Dockery, and I'm a member of the Boots and Bows 4-H Club, and I've been in that since for 11 years. The support you provide to Miss Heather and our program allows us to be able to do so many things within 4-H that we wouldn't be able to do without it. We really do appreciate all that you do for us. I recently competed in our 4-H county events, like Miss Heather said, in the public speaking division. In May, I will go on to district events with my speech that is titled, The Importance of Internet in Rural Communities. And I'd like to share a few key points of my speech with you all today. I have a friend who has to drive to the CVS parking lot in Keystone Heights to access the internet and complete his school assignments because he lacks internet at his home. Not only is this a tremendous inconvenience for him and his family, it's not the best environment or the safest option for a teenager. However, this is what it takes for him to be able to access the same opportunities as other students. In some parts of the country, there have been buses set up with Wi-Fi routers that are parked overnight in residential areas that lack internet accessibility. That is not a permanent solution, but it's a step in the right direction. Farmers require internet access to facilitate online sales of their products or to connect with potential buyers that are interested in purchasing their goals. Most farmers use the profit they make from their products to help maintain their farms, and when they cannot be successful due to the lack of internet, it becomes a substantial concern. Internet accessibility is an essential aspect of life that is often forgotten about when it should be one of the main focal points of a community's interest. From the lack of internet preventing a student from submitting assignments from the comfort of his own home, to farmers not being able to be successful due to the lack of internet accessibility, we should be taking a stance on getting better internet access everywhere and not forgetting about our families and farmers in rural communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Jamie, how old are you?
16.
16? Okay.
Very impressive.
I would have never been able to do that at 16 years of age.
Very
But
impressive.
Thank you for doing that. And let me say this, you and I talked prior to the meeting today and the role that I play in internet for broadband for rural areas. It is very, very important that we all beat the drum to anybody that hears us that we need internet. You're right. No one should have to drive to the Keystone Heights, wherever, and sit in a parking lot or the Interlochen Library. They shouldn't have to. If they want to, that's a whole different topic, but they shouldn't have to. So I appreciate you doing that, and we all need to be singing with one voice. Mr. Adamczak has a comment.
Yeah, I'll make the same comment I made. It was a great speech. I loved it. That I make every time internet comes up in rural communities, and somewhere in there, if you're allowed to edit that, if you could swap one of the accessibility to affordability, because internet is accessible anywhere on this globe.
Yes, sir.
It's a matter of if you can afford it. So some people correlate the two together, affordability is accessibility, but it's important that we keep telling that word as we petition our legislators and everything else, affordability, because the problem is you can get Starlink or something, some people can't afford $125 that it's gone up to now. That's everywhere in the world for the most part. So just an idea, but it was a great job. I appreciate it, and you did a great job speaking in front of us. I can imagine you were nervous. I know when I was your age, I would have been, so awesome.
Mr. Pickens, you have the floor.
Yeah, again, I'll echo that. You did a great job, very poised, especially for 16. And you'll use this skill the rest of your life, trust me. And some learn it early, and some had to learn it a little later, like me. Did you say you've been involved in 4-H for 11 years?
Yes, sir, since I was 5.
Wow, I didn't know that they came on that early. So I think it's fantastic, and congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Mr. Suggs, you have a comment?
Yes, sir. I was still on piggyback on yours, Mr. Chairman, as the role that you play at the state level, looking for the ability to get internet accessible throughout our great state. Maybe you might want to think about inviting Ms. Dockery to come and speak at one of our meetings, because that might be our secret weapon, having someone from a rural community come and speak as eloquently as she did here this morning.
What you don't know is at convention, when this first happened, I dressed up as Flash and ran through. No one knew I was going to do this, and I had the signs: affordability, reliability, accessibility.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was yeah, you don't want to see it, but I had to bring awareness to the group, because you're exactly right. In Orlando, as Mr. Adamczak responded, they pay a portion of what we pay in rural Florida. But rural Florida is just as important as any other place. And we still drive through this county going, I'm fixing to drop you, because we know where those dead spots are. We know that should not happen, because we live in a century now where internet is vital to our lives for everything we do. And but again, like I told you, we could build the best internet service, but if somebody at the back doesn't know how to use it, we didn't accomplish much. So we still got learning to do. But thank you for coming, and I will, if you'll give us your name and address, I'll invite you to the next local technology planning team. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
You want to get a picture with us?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll lay this here. And we'll come back and grab.
Three, two, one.
So Commissioner Pickens, you wouldn't have been able to do that at 16, or?
Not as well, I can tell you that.
I agree. I agree. Ms. Parker, you have some presentations you'd like to make? Is she here, Lori Parker? JR is going to do it. That's not Lori Parker.
Yeah,
I guarantee you that.
There's no way in the world I could replace Ms. Parker. But Commission, thank you this morning for the recognition. Some of the stuff is what a lot of us do is just, take the opportunity to thank our employees for what they do. The first one on today's agenda is Employee of the Month. If she would join me with the EOC staff, is Miss Sabrina Southern.
Is she going to speak? Will she speak?
Yeah, Chairman, I was going to see if you give her like 30 minutes additional to speak this morning. So.
We'll time her too, okay?
Yes, sir. If you could just give her, well, she can get a lot of words out in 1 minute, so she's very good. I'd like to start by saying thank you for Miss Sabrina. She came to us, I think, around the 2021 timeframe. She's been in the county system for many, many years. She started, I think, her career at the sheriff's office and went to the clerk of court's office, and she's, I think, at her final resting place now with her governmental career at the EOC. Couldn't ask for a more attentive, hardworking employee. I'm not sure that we're not going to put in the budget for additional carpet funding for the EOC, because she can burn it down from one end to the other, buddy. Because when she gets going, she's in a hurry. So, but everything she does is very thorough. Does phenomenal work for us as a community. If she doesn't know the answer, she's going to find you. Which I have to commend, because she is steady on the hunt for new knowledge and learning, and the abilities that she's picked up in just the short time frame she's here, and she just does a phenomenal job. We'd like to thank her for her service to the county. and she is February of 2024's Employee of the Month, Sabrina Southern. So here's you a wonderful certificate and a check from the Board of County Commissioners.
Do you want to say or
Ms.
get
Keating,
your
you want to
picture?
say anything?
Okay.
I just wanted to add that I don't know what I would do without her. She is amazing, and not only does she learn if she needs to know something, she shares the knowledge, and that's important with her coworkers.
Good deal.
So thank you.
All right. Come on down, we'll get our picture taken. We're going to stay up here. That's okay with you. Hey, congratulations. Good. Bring all your family, friends, co-workers, aunts, uncles, all that. Some people on this side. There you go. Get them.
Thank you.
That's it.
Nice to
Now's
have
your
been all
chance
today,
to do
Gene.
I haven't called you no
Over
name.
here this side. Now, if we got to keep calling y'all down here, there's a problem, okay? I'm just saying. Or the court. All right, we ready?
3, 2, 1.
Congratulations. Ms. Parker?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Mr. Grimes?
Good morning once again. This is the one we're all jealous of. Mr. Charlie Francis is retiring from Putnam County. If I could get him to join us up here at the podium, please. And Mr. Stout and Mr. Ladd as well. I'd like to thank Mr. Charlie Francis for 21.7 years of service to the citizens of Putnam County as a crew leader for our Public Works Department. That's a long time. With 21 years goes a lot of institutional knowledge of how things work, and especially in a public works system. So I hope we've had time to get all that knowledge passed along over the last few months. But we'd just like to congratulate Mr. Francis on a retirement that's well-deserved, and that we're going to miss him as Putnam County. Mr. Ladd, Mr. Stout, anything to say? But congratulations to Mr. Francis.
Also, just like to say congratulations. It is going to be a loss of knowledge that Mr. Dillon's going to have a little bit of trouble filling, but he's going to get that taken care of for us. I did ask your sister, if she thought you were ready, and she thought you should keep working, but you said there's too much fishing to do. So good luck on the boat.
Good morning. I just wanted to say thank you as well. I mean, every time I've been in the field, he's been diligent, dumping in the hole, getting in there, being supportive to the crew. And congratulations, and I wish you the best.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Francis, you want to say anything, or?
I'd like to say I enjoy myself working there. I'm on emotion. It's going to be hard. So
It'd be good.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Come on down. Let's get our picture. Bring all your family and friends and co-workers and.
Wow. We should have had y'all first where the roads could go back to getting worked on. There's nothing being done right now in Putnam County.
Do you have other work to do now that you're going to retire? You got things to do? All around the house. Good, good.
The work never ends, buddy.
Can you be seated?
I'm trying.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hold on.
them back a little bit more. If you get your work done early, you can go fishing in the afternoon now. Fade light out later.
Thank you for your 21 years of service.
Let him enjoy his fishing sometime. You don't fish? He might, though. He might start. Thank you again. Mr. Francis, enjoy your retirement. Thank you for the years, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I understand that everybody came in to see this presentation except for the people in District 1. They're still working.
You couldn't miss an opportunity, could you, Commissioner Turner? Okay. Moving on to our next item, it's public comment on agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It's not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberations about matters in which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed at the meeting room entrance and should be submitted prior to the meeting to the deputy clerk, Ashley, who sits to my left, your right. And is there any public comments on agenda items? On agenda items. You look a little confused, sir. Can I ask some questions? You may come up to the microphone real quick and ask. I do need you to state your name and address, and then you can ask your question, okay? You can pull that microphone up. Sir.
I'm George Van Brunt from Pomona Park, and I, like several other people up there, had damage. Now, the military people that were here and said the paperwork is here. Do we pick that up here?
You can pick it up right now from...
Okay, and would it also be made available like in the communities of Pomona Park, and we lack for people that can't come to get it, is what I'm asking. Mr. Pickens, I want to thank you, all you commissioners, for getting right back to us on that, on the day that I called you.
I'm sure we can make arrangements to get it down to the spots down there.
To the town councils. We can
yeah,
email it to the
we can
town
do that.
councils.
Email it.
Julianne, Ashley, we get that from Julianne, and she'll give that to you. Thank you
Yes.
for that.
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay, is there any other public comment on agenda items? Seeing none, is there any commissioner who'd like to pull any items? Commissioner Adamsack?
I have none.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes, sir. Item G.
Item G. Commissioner Pickens?
I have none.
Commissioner Wilkinson?
H and K.
H and A?
K.
Okay. Okay. I have no items, so the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of consent agendas A, B, C, D, E, F, I, J, and L.
Second.
We have a proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion on the motion at hand? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Mr. Turner, you have item G, and I'm understanding there could be a possible phone call involved in that.
I don't know that we're going to need that or not.
Okay.
That would be if your determination when we get done.
Okay. We'll wait on that, Zach.
I just felt like there needed to be a little more discussion before we move forward with this. I know that we talked about it in workshop, but there's been a little more relevant information since Ms. Young has been talking to the consultant that we're hiring to do this study for this project. And I just wanted to give her the opportunity to point out a couple of things that she's found out that we weren't certain of. One thing's the schedule and another couple items. So if you'd allow me, Mr. Chairman, to turn it over to Ms. Young.
Please do, Ms. Young.
Thank you, Chairman. At the request of the commission, I reached out and had some conversation with the consultant for very detailed questions that had come to me. One being the timeline, and per the consultant, once the contract is approved, their portion of the study, it takes about a month to collect the data and then about 6 months, give or take, for them to analyze it and have something back to us. From there, the timeline is really dependent upon the county's schedule from there. How quickly we move with the information presented to us will be the final determining factor on that final schedule, that being the time question. The other question asked to me to get some additional information was how much flexibility the commission was going to have once that study came back and yielded some numbers. And so understand the consultant's response to that is the purpose of the study is to give you, the commission, the information for maximum assessments that would be defendable per state statute. From there, the commission will have decisions. They can set the fee at anything at that max or below, but not above. So the study is, the purpose of the study is to make sure that whatever fee you set for each of those respective disciplines is going to be able to be defended per the statute that governs impact fees. So if they come back, for instance, and this is just round numbers, and said this discipline's impact would be $500, the commission then would have a decision to make. They could go 500 or below, but not 501, okay? Third, the question came with respect to impact in areas for where the discipline is not needed, i.e., one of the big examples the commission talked about was the utility system is only in East Palatka and in that corridor. So if we have an impact of a development in West Putnam or North Putnam, would they be responsible? Would we have to assess that utility impact? And the answer is no, not only we don't have to, but we could not, okay? So if the development will not impact the discipline for which the fee is designed for, then there is not a venue where the commission would then impose that impact fee, okay? Did that make sense, Commissioner? You looked at me funny.
No, I like the idea. I mean, that's one of my oppositions to it all these years, that I just didn't like the way, but currently our general fund is subsidizing some things, but
sure.
Yeah, if you're impacting an area, you should, in my opinion, pay for that impact if that's the will of this board.
So one final topic that I was asked to get some additional information on was if this would be universally applied to all impacts, new builds, or if there was some sort of customized approach. And so it is in some respects universal. However, the commission will have an option to impose that impact fee on a sliding scale, i.e. a 1,500 square foot home will not yield the impact that a 5,000 square foot home would yield. And also the commission, allowable within law according to the consultant, will have the option to work with the consultant to establish different subject matters or areas for which the commission would like to see discounts applied. So if the commission takes on affordability as a prime focus, they could then apply a discount to the impact for affordable housing, and then obviously you'd have to define all of that. All of that to say, what this study is intended to do is to bring back all of those pieces of this puzzle that then the Board of County Commissioners will make decisions and direct as to what we want in an impact fee, if you want an impact fee.
All right, so let me say this. In the timeline, we're probably looking at the end of the year, calendar year.
Yes, sir.
Before something comes back. And then we'd probably be looking at first of next year of having sit-down discussions of what they could. You know, the hardest thing in this business is to know what questions to ask and what are other communities doing, and not base it on what other communities are doing, but, you know, what can we do? What's the possibility, like sliding scales and things in that nature, I think are very important. So we'll get that from the consultant after that 7-month or 8-month period, and then we'll sit down and have that discussion in a workshop type environment.
Yes, sir. The only other thing the commission, as stated in here, the commission asked us to definitely include law enforcement as something to review and to make it optional for the school board. We did both. This proposal does include an impact for law enforcement. It does not for the school board at their wishes.
My understanding is the executive team at the school board decided not to revisit or visit that at this moment.
Yes, sir. They just didn't feel like they wanted to engage in this at this time.
That's fine. Okay.
Okay, Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman.
Turner, thank you for bringing this.
Not done, sir.
I understand.
Thank you. I hope that when the commission hears this, because it'll be after I'm gone, but I hope the commission will give some thought to several areas. That one of those is that there's going to be more impact, and I don't know how to do it, but there's going to be more impact when a subdivision of 600 homes comes in than there's going to be if somebody builds a single-family home on their property. I don't know how to get that done, because if we only do it by size of homes, the homes in that subdivision may,
Yeah, there's a lot of feedback.
the homes in that subdivision may be of the same size as a sliding scale, but they're the ones that's going to do all the impact in the area. So there's got to be a way, I feel like that there should be a way that we could think a little bit outside the box and put the impact where the impact belongs, which is on high-density subdivisions coming in, and not so much as somebody building their own single-family home. And I hope that the commission will give thought to the part of this, that the last thing that Putnam County wants to do, in this commissioner's opinion, is keep somebody out of their first home,
Right.
because we're trying to jack our budget up with impact fees. I understand that we need impact fees where impacts are due, but if we've got to figure out a way to where it's only going to work where impacts are necessary. I also thoroughly believe that, and I'm just going to pick one of the disciplines, parks. I believe that if the commission decides to implement an impact fee towards parks, I truly believe that part of that is that the impact fee from that park needs to be used in the district that impact fee was created. Because if I know that they're talking about putting in a large subdivision up on North 17. If that's the case, and that subdivision goes in there and there's impact fees charged on that subdivision, in my opinion, the impact is for that district. So that the impact fees for those parks should be used in that district where the impact fee is, and not used down District 1 where all equipment is.
We just continue to go there all the time. No, I think
and that was my biggest concern about this whole deal, is that we use the impact fees where the impact actually is. And there's nothing that says, when the commission's hearing this, that they have to even implement some of those impact fees at all.
Right.
If they decide that there's not a large enough impact on parks, for instance, the impact fee doesn't have to be, in the first year, doesn't have to be the max. It could be a small portion for each one of them, as long as we don't exceed the maximum amount that our study says that we can do. So if the study comes back and says an impact fee could be defendable at $15,000 a house, that doesn't mean we got to charge $15,000 a house. We could charge $2,000 a house and know that we have some climbing room as the impact doubles or triples or gets worse in the future. But I don't know that it's been done, and I don't know that it is illegal. We really need to look at using impact fees for what they were meant to be used for, which is offset impact. So when we get a 600-unit subdivision, and they're coming, ladies and gentlemen, they're coming.
Oh, yeah.
So the 3,000-unit subdivisions and the 600-unit subdivision, those are where the impacts are going to be. I understand there's some impact from one single family that's building a home somewhere, but that impact is not near as bad as bringing in 600 homes within a 5-year period. That's a real impact. So I hope that the commission at that time will consider the different factors, and that's why I brought it up this morning, because we did have the additional information that just wasn't available when we heard this in workshop. So are you ready for a motion, Mr.
No, sir, I got some comments.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Pickens, your light came on and went right off. But
in the letter back from the school board, it did say, I think at the end, that it was maybe asking or saying that the commission or somebody could come and present to them at a later date. Is this a jump on board now or never?
Correct.
Or they could
Yeah.
not come in at a later date?
Correct. No, they cannot come in at a later date if they would have had to engage now. Essentially, what that
That's only for the study, correct?
Yes.
I mean, they could do their own study at a
Correct.
later date and
Right.
still join the impact fees in
At
a
a la- yeah, I
subsequent
understand
year
that.
later on, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I figured with doing it as a group, it might be a little less in pricing or something like that for them, but I understand that it's just not their time. And, sure, I do agree that, that the money needs to be used where the impact is happening. And, I do agree with you, probably not in the know as you, I'm not a contractor, but the growth is coming, so I think getting this study done and prepared, for a commission, whether it's this one or the next commission, to deal with and implement, I think is a good thing. What time frame would be to get this on a particular tax roll? Julianne, do you happen to know that?
This isn't a tax roll item. This is an impact fee paid when you pick your permit up.
Okay, so it would be permit-based rather than?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it'd be a one-time, okay.
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
there is not necessarily a timeline that has to be met like we do with the things that go on that notice.
Okay,
We
all
can
right.
impose at any time.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Commissioner Wilkerson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Julianne, for answering these questions and getting this bid out and getting everything in front of us today. I want to say that I know that this is a hard topic and that this commission previously has not even looked into this, and I'm glad that we are, because I don't want to stop anyone from building or moving into new homes either, Commissioner Turner. Us, as you mentioned in one of the other meetings, you got to start somewhere as a young family or a new family. And my husband and I started out in a single-wide trailer on Wilkinson Road in Barden, moved to a double-wide on Wilkinson Road in Barden, and now we live on Barden Road in a stick-built home. So we've had 3 homes in our entire life of being married in 35 years. But at the same time, I don't think that that we're trying to jack up our budget by having the discussion about impact fees, and if we do go forward with it. Florida continues to see some of its highest rates of growth even after the implementation of impact fees in other counties. And it should not be, I don't feel like our current citizens should have to pay higher taxes to offset or subsidize new development. New development is less appealing to prospective consumers or buyers if we lack good roads, reliable fire and EMS services, and so forth. These things impact fees are meant to preserve health and safety of citizens, and they're meant to truly offset the impact of new developments for roads, water, sewer, parks, fire rescue, libraries, et cetera. And I feel like if this is used in the right way and it does have to stay in the area that it's impacting. That is part of the rule. I think if it's used in the right way, it could help us move forward like we should be in the county. But we'll have to have that discussion once we see what they say. But I don't want to have people not being able to move in new homes either. I'm very well aware of what your point is on that, and I totally agree.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilkerson. Commissioner Adams.
Yeah, as someone who's supported moving forward in this manner since the day I took office, I'm excited about this, and I voted no every time that we've talked about impact fees as far as not renewing on the opposite side. Not because I necessarily thought we needed to have an impact fee that day, but because I think we need to do this study, we needed to see where it lies. I'm very happy that the board has decided to include all the items and offer it to the school board, because the thing is, if we went back and we said, oh, let's add law enforcement later, then we have some more expenses of the technical analysis and data collection, all that stuff, which would be like double paying for something that we already have the data for. So I appreciate that we're moving forward in that way. I agree with everything the other commissioners said. Some of these things, and I won't be on the board when this comes forward, some of these things I may not agree that we would do, like I think someone brought up general government buildings. How do you determine, like, if you have an impact in District 5, what buildings would go into? I mean, some of that doesn't make sense, possibly, but for the $15,000, I think it's important that we explore it and we have that option for the future commissions to be able to utilize that if they find it necessary. So I'm very excited about this, and don't know if at the time when whatever the future commission is deciding to do impact fees, I might be standing out there talking about what I think they should do, and I most likely will be. I can tell you that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman, I
Adams.
move approval.
Hang on just a minute.
I'm sorry.
I got something. I think it's very important that we go down this road. We have, as a board before, not this board, previous board, looked at impact fees. You know, you got to look at them at the time and place that they're in. And my comment more is about the naysayers in this political climate that's going to say, well, you've done studies before. We've heard that you have to have current and updated studies by state statute. That's defensible positions. So just want to bring that out. We don't know what we don't know yet, and we're going to learn what we don't know. And then the future board will go forward and make decisions that are based good on this county at that time. Do want to ask one question before I entertain a motion to Julianne. Think before in the past when I was part of that, we individual commissioners were interviewed by the consultant to start off with. Is that something that they have looked at, having conversations with individual commissioners?
The conversations with the commission will really come after the study. At this point, it is all data-driven. It is not commission initiative until they return with study results.
Good
And
deal.
then, yes, we can have those conversations.
Thank you very much. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of item G.
Second.
Proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion on the motion at hand? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Commissioner Wilkinson, you have the floor for item H.
Surplus inventory, we have 20, Kubotas. I can't tell by looking at this, what is it? Are they side-by-sides? Are they ditch diggers? Are they mowers? What are they? Why are we surplusing them? Is it because of hours? They're broken down? I mean, I don't understand.
It's kind of a misnomer, but Juliana
Apologize,
will take care.
the item, I guess, was lacking some information. Those were the 5 tractors that were on lease that we had to return by the lease agreement, and then we leased another 5 mowers. But the lease is a capital, tractors, I'm sorry, it is a capital lease, which requires us to book it as an asset on our financials, which means when we take it out of our financials, we have to write it off.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
So even though, that doesn't make any sense, but okay.
It's a, it's
I mean, it
it's an
doesn't.
accounting principle. It is not,
It's a GASB standard.
There you go.
Governmental Accounting Standards
Okay.
Board, they
All
require
right.
us to do it now.
Enough said.
so this is really just compliance with GASB and accounting and policy. It's paperwork, but it's required.
I tried to get them to surplus them to District 1, but that,
They will already
They
be there.
probably had to pick them up out of District 1 to bring them in and trade them in.
We did.
Yeah,
We
full-
did, yeah. We just sent them down to District 1 to pick up.
I think it was just 4 of them, so.
Okay.
So Commissioner Wilkinson, I will say I asked the same question in one of the first meetings I was at when we surplused something that was coming off lease, and it is confusing a little bit.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I'll move approval of item H on our agenda.
Second.
A proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Thank you. Commissioner Wilkins, that's very good. It doesn't make sense sometimes when we're just trading in something. but
Listen, it has to make sense to me.
I get it.
It really does.
I get it. You have item K?
I just I'd like some further information. Specifically, I want to know how this benefits Putnam County. I guess that's my biggest question. And then,
Mr. Tilton, would you come up and explain the temporary situation here that's fixing to happen or you want to happen?
Good morning, Commissioners. So St. Johns County reached out to me and their transfer station there in Vermont Heights, which is right there before you get to 95 off of 207 at Tillman Ridge. They have to redo the transfer station floor. They reached out to me to see if we would be willing to take the garbage that's generated in that area for just a couple of weeks so they don't have a place to actually take it because they dump it out on the floor of that. The transfer station is basically a big shed, and then they load it up and haul it to Georgia. So they reached out to us. I told them we would charge them our gate rate, which is our commercial, which is $34 a ton, and that we would look to be able to help them for just a couple of weeks. And it's revenue that we're going to be able to help put into our coffers.
is that their only sanitation station in their whole county?
The only other one that they have is actually up in the north, St. Johns County in Ponte Vedra, and I guess they look at it from a travel standpoint that we would be closer.
Okay.
Commissioner Turner, you have a question?
Yes, when I started, in the last 6.5 years, I've learned more about the damn garbage business than I ever wanted to in my entire life. But I know that there's certain parts of it that are business-like, just the same as the utilities. It's got to be sustainable. The citizens just can't keep taking these different parts of the county and taking the citizens' money and making them operate into the future. The landfill's the same thing. We never wanted it to become a regional landfill. We don't. I don't think Mr. Tilton does. We have no interest in that at all. But if you don't bring some revenues in from outside sources, such as ELS and Bunnell, who we have a contract with, and Waste Management in Ormond, we still have that one, don't we, Jay?
We don't have a contract with them.
Not any longer. Okay, but we did. But small funding partners to come in and try to help you, then our assessment's going to be $500 or $600 a year per household instead of $170 or whatever it is now.
$255, but that's both together.
But the $160 of that is pickup.
$155.
So less than $100 basically for what somebody is assessed every year to help the landfill stay alive here in Putnam County. If you don't bring in funding partners, that assessment will quickly rise to where it'll be completely out of control. Because of these small funding partners and these small deals like Mr. Tilton has here, it has enabled us to bring down that assessment every year for the last 5 years from way over $100 to like 80 or whatever it is now. We'd like to continue bringing that down every budget year. I don't know if we're going to make it this year or not, because we got a couple of things that are staring us in the face this year that's different from what it's been in years past, and it'll unfold during the budget process where that fits out. I'd rather not bring any garbage in at all, but I'd even less rather the citizens have to pay higher assessments for that to happen. We've got a lot of airspace at the landfill, years and years and years of airspace. We've got we've got it set up to where we've got 2 more cells that we're going to mine out, in-house mine out. We've already got the trommel and everything to do it and the equipment that we've bought over the years. We've got those that are going to be additional airspace, and we got another 1,000 acres of land in the back that we can put a landfill on. They won't run out of landfill space in the next 150 years for Putnam County, even if they had a lot more funding partners. But it's always been, and this is just me speaking, you may have a difference of opinion, and I respect that, but I've always believed that we need a serious funding partner, whether that be St. Johns County, which we're not going to get, and whether that be Clay, which we just missed out on it. So we need a funding partner. We don't need to be a regional landfill, but we need a funding partner. The landfill business needs to have income, and that's in the form of bringing in more garbage. So this is basically for a year at full gate. I mean, this is a year could be, but in reality, it's for 2 to 3 weeks while they're redoing their floor, and they're paying full gate rate. They didn't even have to have an interlocal agreement with us. They could have just brought it over here and dumped it in our landfill at full gate rate, because we don't keep anybody from just coming into the county. As long as they bring in garbage that's acceptable to the county, anybody can bring it in and dump at our gate if they pay full gate rate. The funding deals that we have that we used to have with Waste Management, I guess is gone now, but ELS, they have a little discount, a little small discount. Instead of 34, they pay 20 something, but they bring 100 tons a day, or they did, or whatever, and so it fluctuates. But those small funding partners are what allows the citizens to pay a lot less money and keep the landfill operating. 100 tons sounds like a lot, but in the garbage world, that's like a drop.
Commissioner Wilkinson, any comment?
My only comment would be, we hear a lot from citizens regarding trash that spills out of the trucks as they're traveling through the county. So if you could just have a conversation, I would really appreciate it with St. Johns County to make sure that they're securing their loads when they come in through.
These will actually be on their rear loaders, so they should be closed off. I've had conversations with Highway Patrol and with the Sheriff's Office. I don't care if it has a Putnam County sticker on the side of it. If it's blowing trash out, pull it over.
That's
and
right.
use my parking lot to write the tickets.
Right, because what
So,
happens is we're
that's right.
spending extra money to clean up that mess, and so while we're saving on one end, if we're hiring contractors, or whether it's the inmate work crew or our work crew to pick up trash, then we're not saving money. And I appreciate you, Commissioner Turner, for helping me get to that point, and some education. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Adams, you have a comment?
And I agree with everything you said, but I also looked at this particular instance as counties, sometimes we need to be neighborly as well.
Right.
So we've been trying on and off in the time I've been here to build some relationships with different counties. We've even had some joint meetings and other things. I know some of us speak to other county commissioners and people on staff in the other counties surrounding us as well. So I just think this also is like an olive branch to say, listen, we're willing to work with you. And then hopefully someday that helps us get an opportunity if we need something from them, and vice versa. Because we have interlocal agreements with a lot of the surrounding counties for fire service, for other things.
Sure.
So, we got to also do the right thing for our community as a whole, which isn't necessarily only just our citizens.
Regional,
in this
right.
particular case.
Yeah.
Given that it's 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If it went years, then I think we'd have to negotiate something different. But
Well, we just put that in there because they got to redo a 1 foot thick concrete floor. Is basically what they're doing. So, that can come with its own headaches, so if it goes a little longer than 3 weeks, that's the reason we put the extra in there.
Sure.
But I think it really needs to be said that we don't even have to have an interlocal agreement.
Yeah, you said that.
This is just nice, that, like Commissioner Adams Act said, us being neighborly to do this, but they're paying full gate rate.
Well, we pay full gate rate on their beach, so hey, that's all.
I get it. I appreciate the conversation.
I will say this, though, Mr. Tilton, before you leave, when I first got here, landfill was up for sale. And I fought very, very hard. And I often thought I'd wear a mirror on my chest on the way home for that laser that would bounce off and not shoot me on the way home. It was a very terrible situation. But traveling around Florida, learning landfills, Hinckley Center of Solid Waste Management, University of Florida, very, very knowledgeable. So I know a lot about landfills too, and I tell you, it can be a money maker for a county, and it can be. And I tell you, once you start mining, all you're doing is creating more airspace, and you know that, and I know that, and getting stuff out of that area. So I agree. I think we need to be good neighbors, and we need to move this forward. So, Commissioner Wilson, do you want to make a motion?
I do. I'd like to move approval of item K on our agenda item.
second.
Proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion on the motion at hand? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Next item, new business, Parks and Recreation, LED lighting. Ms. Julianne, do you have that?
Yes, sir, I do. Thank you, Chairman. The item before you, Parks and Recreation was approached by Palaca Babe Ruth, who has a representative here today who can add to the request. They were notified that the contractor, who has been a valued partner for Putnam County Parks and Recs of all of our complexes, has notified them of his intent to move to Montana this summer. With that time frame being known, the request came from Palaca Babe Ruth to finish the field lighting for fields 5 and 6 at Francis Field. Which also provides a 15% discount. He has been a partner with us for all of our parks and generally will discount his costs pretty significantly because he believes in giving back to the youth. When we began to prepare to go to the Recreation Advisory Board with some conversation with Commissioner Pickens, he also requested that given the fact that the vendor is looking to relocate to Montana and that we would like to also look at options for finishing South Putnam. So we did have both of those items at the Rec Advisory Board. South Putnam and Francis are the only remaining active complexes in Putnam County who do not completely have LED field lighting for the participants that are there. We, of course, at Francis Field have Babe Ruth, who is a partner as well and has contributed. And they also, Francis has 2 area high schools who use practice and game day fields at that complex. So the funding request is before you. The Rec Advisory Board recommended that the board fund all of the lighting projects so that we could get this done prior to Mr. Van leaving. So the total there for Francis and then the 2 fields in South Putnam, there are several different viable options for funding, but it is at the board's direction to advise staff what they would like to do.
I have a question. We'll turn it over. Mr. Pickens will be first, and then Commissioner Wilkinson. Does Mr. Van think he can get this project done?
He's committed. If we would like to move forward, he's committed to getting it done prior to his relocation.
Thank you. Mr. Pickens, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Harvey. When Julianne brought this to my attention, as Chair of Parks and Recs, to have a special meeting to discuss the possibility of lighting the rest of the Francis fields, I said, well, can we take a look at South Putnam? And so we really were going to include just one field. It was actually one of the back fields that has no lighting. It is large enough to have 2 soccer games on at one time, so that's how big that one is. There's also an intermediate field, and I said, well, let's see if we can get this one done, and that'll, boost the lighting availability down there. This was actually a recommendation from the board, from the Parks and Rec board. Go ahead and look at that one too, so that one's on there. We have a really good Parks and Recs board. We had a lot of discussion on this. It was a 2-minute meeting. George Young, who's the president of the Babe Ruth up here, spoke a little bit and answered some questions. We've had some really good conversations, but I really think with this, we really need to look at this seriously, because Julianne pointed out that the last 2 quotes that this company won, the next closest bid was twice the amount of money. So we're going to light these in the future. We probably need to really think about doing it now if we can come up with a funding mechanism. So that's all I got right now.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilkinson.
Thank you, Julianne, for bringing this and the detail that you put in the report. I appreciate it in the agenda item. This is very important to me. Francis Park is in my district, and I was approached by somebody, a constituent, who also is involved with the Palaca Babe Ruth, and I realize how important this is to our community and lighting those fields and the amount of youth that come into that park. And I'm willing to put a portion of my commissioner dollars toward this. I believe I can do that. I know we have some ARPA funding. My suggestion and discussion would be that we split the ARPA funding as noted in the agenda item of $91,000 between the 2 parks, and then that would leave a little less than $100,000 for my Francis Field, and I guess a little bit less, same way with South Putnam. And then, I don't know if I want to. I could use the whole $100,000. I could use. I don't really know. I'm really looking for some direction, I guess.
As far as funding mechanisms, the commissioners' discretionary funds are available. The local assistance and tribal funds for this year's allocation is available. Last year, we used them at South Putnam on one of our fields, so we could then again split them. The general fund and BPP are all viable funding sources for these capital projects.
Well, this means so much to me that I would be willing to if I have to pony up the whole $100,000 out of my discretionary funds, which is half, I would be willing to do that. I don't know how Commissioner Pickens feels, but
Julian, what was and I asked for that this morning, and I didn't get it.
Sorry.
In the addendum, what's the total for South Putnam with the second field on there? I didn't write it down.
It is $197,830.
Okay, so if we split that, it'd be $150 out of mine.
Splitting the ARPA.
Yeah.
The ARPA in half is $45,922, so it would leave a remaining balance in South Putnam of $151,908, and a remaining balance for Francis of $93,900. $844.40 if we split that ARPA funding mechanism in
Let's finish our
half.
conversations. and
Not a
we'll
problem.
Get right back to that. Mr. Adamczak, I think you had the floor next.
I think I was next.
Well, it recounted again, but
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
You're fine, sir.
go ahead, Mr. Turner, then.
All my questions are exactly what they're discussing right now. How are we gonna fund it, who's gonna pay for it, and what have you. You know, because like Francis Field, for instance, we put 150 in it last year, and we used the same reasons that we're trying to reuse this year, that they're great members of the community, and they are. They absolutely are. They go out there and they do their own maintenance, and they do their own scoreboards, and they work on the concession stands. It's a government partnership with the Babe Ruth organization, and I think it's great. But we got other things to do in Putnam County other than just funding lights. So I'm not saying I'm against it, and especially now that Commissioner Pickens and Commissioner Wilkinson are adamant enough to do this, that they're going to pony up the additional funding out of their discretionary funds. I'm on board. I'd never go against what a commissioner wanted to do with their discretionary dollars. I'll tell you that straight up. So that was the only questions I had, was how are we going to fund this, not just straight out of general fund. And it sounds to me like y'all got it going on, so that's fine.
Mr. Adamczak.
Someone who used to coach in West Putnam as well as Melrose. West Putnam, more when we were in West Putnam, we used to do tournaments where we would come into the Francis Field. Because the West Putnam doesn't exist anymore and my children aren't interested in baseball, we've moved on to soccer. So, but I'll say this, I fully support it, that my district butts right against the Francis Field. Unfortunately, it doesn't to your South Putnam Field. And I have people in that area right in Francis, right, because I have from Moats Road back, and then all the Penn Isle. And I don't have a big park footprint outside of the Johnson Park, and especially not in this eastern portion of my district. I'd be willing to put $20,000 of my discretionary funds towards the Francis as well.
Thank
So
you, Commissioner Adamczak.
maybe what we need to do is take like a 4-minute recess, and Julianne, you could have a little sidebar per commissioner of, not all at one time.
I think maybe I can propose something
Okay.
relatively
If you've got
quickly.
it all written down, that's fine.
So the local tribal assistance funding, if we allocate that, then that brings down to the balances between Commissioner Adamczak and Commissioner Wilkinson's contribution. Francis would be completely taken care of. If Commissioner Pickens, if I heard him say he would allocate his 100 as well, that would leave only $51,908 to come out of general fund for the entire amount of the projects. To get
Mr.
everything
Chairman, I
done.
move what she just said.
Well, is that what you understood, Commissioner Pickens?
I'm good, you good?
Okay, we got a proper motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I got a comment, I'll second it.
Okay, we got a proper second. You got a comment, Mr. Pickens?
Yeah, I do. Also, in the Francis Field, that field has some age on it. My youngest son Bobby's 31, and he played Babe Ruth there, okay? So you have to continue, I understand we have other needs, but that program out there used to hold tournaments, as George put in his report, tournaments, and it has the ability to do that again, a place where people want to come from out of town to come to participate in whatever age group it is. So I believe this will really be another big step in moving that forward. I was incorrect in my numbers. There were 300 kids signed up for soccer this past year in South Putnam. That's really the only fields that we have for them to participate, especially during the time frame that they play, which is when it gets dark at 5 o'clock. So with this, I appreciate Commissioner Wilkinson. I appreciate this whole board to realize the fact that we need to continue to invest in our youth, and this is a really, really a big way to do it. So that's all I have.
If I can have a few more comments.
You may, Commissioner Wilson.
This is important to me because I understand that, we have travel ball out there, we have high school teams out there, we have Penn Isle Baptist out there, Babe Ruth. I don't have any of my children out there or grandchildren out there, but it is one of the busiest athletic complexes in Putnam County. and they host a number of tournaments throughout the year. We bring visitors in throughout the county, from other counties, and it's good to have a good face for Putnam County, especially, and we need to engage our youth to be involved in sports. And like I'd said before, getting them out of the house and off of the couch and off of social media and all of those platforms that, sports is where they learn leadership. They just learn so many things from teamwork, all the things that we need to be teaching our children. And that's why it's important enough to me to use my discretionary funds for that, and I appreciate the support of the board. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, I get a comment? No, you're good?
And thank
Okay,
you,
we have
Mr. Adamsack.
Mr. Chairman,
We have proper motion? Yes, sir.
they've embarrassed me into it.
I knew you were going to come on board.
Yeah. I'm going to put 30,000 of my discretionary funds towards Mr. Pickens's park down there in Crescent, and maybe he'll let me borrow a tractor. Maybe he'll let me borrow a tractor up in District 3 to mow my grass.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. I'd come down and hug you, but I don't want it on camera, so.
So Julianne, with that number now, where are we at?
Yes, sir.
B21.
We're going to split the ARPA funding, so each park will have 45,922 in ARPA funding. Commissioner Adams-Zach will have 20,000 at Francis. Commissioner Wilkinson will have 73,844 and 40 cents at Francis. Commissioner Pickens will have 100,000 at Francis. Commissioner Turner will have 30,000 at Francis, and the general fund will contribute $21,908.
South Putnam.
South Putnam.
I'm sorry, South Putnam. It's written down South
You
Putnam.
just misspoke, yes, ma'am.
Apologize.
So Francis is 100% paid for, and the only one that's lacking is South Putnam of
So
21.
And that will be
there'd
both
20
fields.
left. There'd be 20 left that come out of general funds.
Yes, 21,908.
Take it out of my funds, that would be good to go.
Okay.
You zero it out.
Yeah.
What else we want to negotiate today?
We're on a roll.
All right, but let the record be known that I donated money a
Yes,
few
you
months
did.
back for Melrose Lights, so I won't be participating in this round of hospitality, if you will.
We just did it all out of discretionary funds.
All out of
Because Mr.
discretionary.
Pickens just put
Yeah.
the other 21 in,
But
so it's all paid for. There's zero out of general fund.
All right, so we have proper motion, we have proper second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. We're going to take
Gonna
a
take
3-minute
4-minute
break.
break.
Next item on our agenda is under new business, the procurement, approved design of the Putnam County Fairgrounds building. Who has that one?
I can take that one as well, sir.
Okay.
We have Mr. Malcolm and Mr. Newbold here with us today. They have been, along with Mr. Marshall Fulgham, the point persons who are working with us to solidify the design of the building that we have now received 2 legislative appropriations to build. And so they have finalized their conceptual design and are here to present it before you. And I'm going to ask Mr. Newbold and Mr. Malcolm to come up and take the board through that design that you have laid out.
Mr. Chairman, while they're walking up.
Yes, sir, Mr. Turner.
I only have one question, and you can address it for whatever you wanted to come say. By the way, it's a nice building, impressive. If it comes in that it's above your funding capacity with your legislative appropriations, or is the plan maybe to cut out some of the storage or to make it a little smaller, or is that kind of what the plan is at this time? Because
No, sir, not at all. And the only reason, Mr. Turner, that's an excellent question, but the reason we can't is one part of that grant, we got it. It had to carry the name, it had to carry the address, and the square footage that we put in for it. That was off the table. There was no changes in that. So what we did was we made it what we needed. And you're correct. We do, as Julianne said just a moment ago, we've got phase 1. We went back as 4.5, 5 years ago, we put in for it, everything had changed.
Right.
So then we got phase 2 approved. We were already told to submit phase 3, but we didn't want to because at that time we were just partnering with Biden Hall. We needed to get this conceptual design completed so we could get it out for bid. Then when the bids came back in, we will know then what we're really looking at in our vision, and we hope to capture all that in the phase 3. And so far, the support from the legislature, with our representatives that we've been talking to, with y'all's support, all the county help here, we have a very strong confidence level that the phase 3 grant will go through.
Okay, well, so I know that you guys have a real grasp on reality on the other projects that you've done and whatever, so, but if it turns out that you don't have a funding, I would assume then that you would go and fund it like you did the last 2 projects, you would fund them within your own mechanism. So I guess what I'm saying is if we approve this today and that your conceptual design, I would like it to be with the understanding that y'all are going to do everything in your power to fund it without the commission having to fund it with you.
You are 100% correct.
Yes.
Well, Malcolm, I think I gave you that too. That was a concern of mine. We love the public-private partnerships that we've been enjoying over the past few years, but when COVID taught us that people ran out of money and the prices went up and expenses, and it came back to the taxpayers of Putnam County. I'm not saying I wouldn't support that. I'm just saying that we've got to be mindful of that going into this project. I think it's going to be great for Putnam County. I really do. I think it's a beautiful design. We need a building this big to do events. We don't have anything like that right now. So I'm looking forward to it. Mr. Suggs, you had a comment you'd like to make before they do their presentation?
Yes, sir, that's fine. I just wanted to say also that, as we do with every other project that has an advisory board capacity to it, like our Parks and Rec, the information came through from the gentleman who are spearheading the project. So I requested that they go back and hold a board meeting to make sure everybody was on board so we could verify with you 5 if that was a question here today. And I want to just say thank you to Malcolm because they jumped right on that. That was a conversation, I believe, on Monday, and I believe on Thursday, and then you were calling me to let me know that the board unanimously approved the project in its presentation. So I just wanted to say thank you for that and let the board know that it did go through the advisory committee as we do with the other projects.
Good. Malcolm, you have the floor. You go ahead.
Please.
And just to say,
Just a minute.
excuse me.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I just wanted to add, please understand that because I made that comment doesn't mean I'm not for this project or that I think it's a great project and a great design.
No.
I just wanted everybody to understand that today by us approving these plans doesn't mean we approve funding it if y'all don't get it to a certain level. That's the reason I wanted to bring that up. I'm on board.
No, sir, Mr. Commissioner Turner, I absolutely know that for a fact that you're on board. This was one of those things that each time we go through an advisory committee like the Parks and Rec for anything and it comes to the board, It's one of the things I wanted to make sure that the Fair Board understood, that would not be a question of the board, that it go through the full committee, and yes, it has.
And just to add that, and Terry, I fully understood that was your point and respect it with all y'all. We understand that's your position there to your constituents, to make sure when y'all are approving something, y'all are approving what you should. And I fully respect it. All of us do. But the one thing I do want to say is our PCFA, Putnam County Fair Authority, we've been on board with this since day one. This has been going on for over 2 years. And with saying that, I do want to point out Terry Suggs, Julianne Young, Lee Duran, Sam Sullivan. We've had J.R. Grimes and Jay Tilton even helped us in the evaluation. This has been going on for a long time, but our board has been up to date the whole time. Even when I was vice president a few years ago, I was writing letters to our board on behalf of me and J.R., updating them. Whenever we did these designs, I shared them with the board. We just had a board meeting 2 weeks ago, and I told the board when Pat completed the design, I was going to forward out to all of them. I mean, we have, this is a continuous loop with our board, so just want y'all to know. Might have been the three of us on the committee, but the whole board's been involved with the whole thing. We just couldn't have 20 opinions in there during the design phase, but we're very proud of it. And if y'all don't mind, we've talked a little bit about it, but
Malcolm, hang on just 1 second. Commissioner Amzak had one quick comment.
I don't have a question. I'm just saying, as far as the fair goes, I'm excited about this project, and I think if we did take something away, it would be a tough decision. I don't think you can anyway, but even with the facade, like normally for the animal control building, I'm like, we don't need to make it real beautiful, but in this case, I think it is going to be a showpiece at the fairgrounds. So some of the extra stuff, the outward look of it, is just as important as what can be done inside of it. In this case, in my opinion, I just wanted to make sure I said that out loud. Thank you.
we appreciate that.
All right, Malcolm, you have the floor.
Our long-term vision, y'all, is that this would be a type of a conference center. You know, this is something that we hope that big companies like Seminole Electric, Georgia Pacific, out of the county entities, which we know the TDC looks towards, things like that will bring more people into the county to use it. When we started the design concept and discussion that several of you commissioners have passed on to us, that y'all would like to see a type of a conference center here, something to hold that would make Putnam County more viable for people to come in and hold these large meetings. And that was kind of our vision from the beginning. Then when we all started working together, we were trying to come up with a way to do it. We brought in several design architect companies, of which Biden Hall is a successful one. But anyone that's been to Clay County, they have a similar facility that Biden Hall was the successful bidder, did the design, implemented, and it's a beautiful setting. But we wanted to stay kind of rural. We wanted to say something that represented Putnam County, what we are. I mean, we didn't want to make something look like the Taj Mahal, but we wanted something that was usable, that was efficient, that would be effective for what we're using, the floor plan for the seating, the training rooms in the back, the kitchen, the full bathroom area, even the frontage of it to where it would look very, I don't want to just say Putnam County, but would look very friendly, warm, and open. And that was the whole point. And we feel we've established that, so I don't want to sit here and try and do what these gentlemen were paid to do, but I'm going to ask Brian and Pat to kind of pick up on this part and explain to y'all the details of it, and me and JR is here to answer anything y'all have.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think we need details. Just give us an overall view and like your elevation or whatever for the public to see on TV and what have you. I don't think we need a full-blown details. I mean, I'm a contractor. I've looked at these plans for a while, so I mean, other people may not have that experience, but I just don't think they want it maybe, like how many toilets are in a bathroom or so. They don't care. They want bathrooms and they want, so if you could just give the overall floor plan and the overall, elevation for the public to see, I think that would be more than adequate to get you approved today.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. My name is Brian Sawyer with Bedan Hall Architects. I'm the principal.
You can pull that microphone up. It'll work for you.
Perfect. And thank you for having us. This is an exciting project. I have with me Pat Smith. He's a senior architect in our firm, and I can't take credit for it. This is really, Pat's design more than mine. But again, we appreciate, kind of the opportunity to kind of present, what we have here. I think everybody's spoken, to kind of the design, and that was our intent all along, is to make this building look like it was always meant to be here, and respect, the community, and respect kind of the people that are going to be, coming to this place. So just some real simple highlights. We do have a large space, a multi-purpose space that can accommodate, I think it's up to around 500 folks, in seats, and slightly less in tables and chairs, so that it can accommodate literally almost any kind of function you want to put in there. And that space is supported by a full commercial kitchen, so that if, meals want to be had there, or if they want to be brought in for catering, that we would have that facility available to us. That same kitchen can also, has an exterior serving window, so that if the fair wanted to use that kitchen during the fair, they have that function as well. So it kind of can serve both, both purposes. And as Malcolm, we've got some other features in the building, some office spaces. Some training. Yes, thank you. Some training rooms, some conference spaces that have exterior access, so that allows us the option to not even bring the whole facility online. If somebody wanted to just use that one singular space, they could after hours or on the weekends or whatever, and not have to impact anybody else in the facility. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. And then, I'm sorry, I skipped right over the storage area. So then the other third of the building is a large storage warehouse that can be used to store product.
JR, would you please come to the microphone real quick?
Space not only for the fair itself, but as the county needs space during emergency programs, that it's easy to access, that it's safe and secure, and just kind of sticking to the idea that it's a facility that's open in many ways to the full county in many aspects, not just the fair.
Okay. Mr. Turner, you have a question? Then Ms. Wilkinson.
I think JR needs to give us his name and address for the record. Sorry, JR.
JR Newbold, 566 Old Highway 17, Crescent City, Florida.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to bring that a copy of these full plans, a full copy of the plans are included in today's agenda. Mm-hmm. So anybody that wants to see them in the public, all they have to do is go on the agenda, and the full set of these plans are in there for further review or for further comment or whatever. So while it looks like we may be brushing through this pretty quick today, it's completely transparent by just going to the website and getting the today's agenda, and it's in that agenda. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Wilkinson, you have a comment or question?
Yes, I have a couple. This is the first time I've seen this. Pardon me. The only involvement I've had has been when I was working for Representative Payne in the appropriation process. So the two appropriations that you've received, and if you guys can't speak to it, maybe staff can, those have timeframes on them. So how is that working out with the state?
When we got the first one, Ms. Wilkinson, it had a year. We got the extension, which took us to 2 years. And then we worked with them this past year. We started Sam Sullivan and sending the updates to them, and that continues the project moving forward. Okay. The second one had another year, which we haven't even started into it yet. So time frame wise, we're sitting good. There's really been no delays in anything involving the project except really the holidays. Outside of the holidays, it's been steady moving forward. Sam's been sending the quarterly reports to our contact in Tallahassee, and we continue to move forward. As soon as these bids come back in, it's going to be moving very fast.
Okay, all right. So the time frame for completion will be based on the bids?
You are correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
When we receive that, we'll have a schedule.
All right, that was one of my other questions. And then the vision for the fair, during the fair time, I know this building has restrooms. Will this be replacing the restrooms that we currently have or used in conjunction? Is it going to be open to the public during fair times?
Right now, that's not the plan, is to continue with the actual restrooms we have at the facility, and that's been meeting our needs. Now, down the road as we grow, that very well may become part, but we look to involve that building in the fair process going forward. Right now, we're not doing anything to it with the fair, of course, because we're in the design part, but when it is completed, we plan on making that part of our fair. To what that visual roll out at that time, we'll have to see as we grow. But as far as bathroom facilities, we definitely are not including that right now for the fair. It's separate. It's for that facility itself.
Are we getting rid of any buildings at the fairgrounds?
No, ma'am, we're not.
By building this?
This will be a replacement funding for the building the new one, but the old Maltby building is still there. We just put the new roof on that Maltby building, and we'll
That's what I
continue to
thought.
use it the way it's been used, similar to setting up for exhibitors and stuff. And this building will be used totally separately in a different format.
So during the fair time, we don't know that we don't know what we're going to do with it. We don't know if we're going to have exhibitors in it or what.
Most likely will not be exhibitors. If we do something, it will be something we'll add on, like we'll bring in some type of other venue, not venue, but we would bring in another event. We
Okay.
would bring it in, like we use the Tilton Arena for certain things. We use Pavilion 1. This would be another accommodation we could bring something else into, but probably would not be on the exhibits. We would try to maintain those in the Maltby building, Building 1.
Okay. All right. I think that answered my questions.
Okay, Malcolm, I have a couple of questions. At the start of your presentation, you said that there was 3 things that could not be changed on the first appropriation. What are those 3 things?
We had to maintain the name, and Julianne can jump in, there might be more, but we had to maintain the name of the Maltby building. It had to be at the same physical address it was, and the square footage that we had requested in the grant, we had to maintain that, because when the first grant came back, and the $1,225,000, that was $1,125,000, that was actually 2.5 years.
It's been a few years, yes.
Okay.
It had been, it had been up there, and it took several years to get approved, and then, of course, COVID had hit us, making everything in the supply chain double and triple. So at that time, we knew we were going to be in trouble, and our first thought was to shrink it down. Julianne was helping us. We made calls. That was a no-no. It had to be maintained there.
Okay, and the second appropriation is how much?
I'm going to look at Julianne, 1.5 or 1.6
Okay.
million, I
That's
believe,
fine.
sir.
Somewhere in that area.
Yes,
That's
sir.
fine. That's fine. Okay. Now, let me tell you a personal story that my wife and I are Florida Gator alumni, and we bought into the Emerson Hall. And you might wonder, where is he going with this? They had great bathrooms, and my wife did not mind spending $1,000 a person for a lifetime membership to use the bathrooms before the Gator game. If the bathrooms are that good, you might have a VIP badge that you can sell at the gate for those ladies and gentlemen who like to use nice-looking bathrooms. Mr. Pickens, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Harvey. The outside of the construction, is it steel, concrete? I mean, is it a steel building, basically?
Yes, sir. It's a pre-engineered metal building with a metal panel exterior.
Okay, in the interior, and thank you for all these other questions, and Commissioner Wilkinson, I was concerned about their timelines also, because the state's good about giving money, but also have timelines and when you use it. Inside, it looks like 560 seating. Will the completion of this have audio and visual, all high-tech stuff in there where a company could come in like a Clay Electric and do a seminar, 3-day seminar or something like that? All that
Yes,
would be
sir.
in place?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have monitors on the front, which would be the top of that plan, as well as along the sides. We have provisions for all that, so yes, they could do audio-visual.
Okay, does the funding, and I'm looking at Malcolm and JR, does the funding include 560 seats and, 400 tables and all of those things, the kitchen equipment and those things? Is that in this funding, or is that
That is
will become
100%
later?
our plan, Mr. Pickens, yes, sir. And when this comes back in, we'll have the pricing, and then we'll know what we're going to do, and then that will be included in our next phase. Our plan is, when it's completed, it is turnkey. That doesn't
turnkey.
mean we don't have a plant to plant somewhere, or maybe an extra TV to put somewhere, but our goal is to have it turnkey when completed. That's been everyone's goal since we started this, staff included.
That's a good plan. Okay, all right, that's all I have.
Mr. Suggs, you have a comment?
Yes, sir. Just on the funding concerns, Mr. Sullivan has notified me that all of the allocations, each one of the appropriations have been kept as a separate agreement in order to be able to maintain each one of the timelines moving forward. So each one of them are separate, so each time there's a new agreement in place, it starts a new timeline for each one of the phases of the project.
Well, I love the idea. So, are we done with discussion?
I have one question.
Chairman, I move
Ms.
approval.
Wilkinson? Wait,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead, Ms. Wilkinson.
I just have, I see your aerial map, but where is that located at on the property? Where are you going to be
If you
located?
physically, when you come in to the Fairgrounds Road, the asphalt, when it turns and you're facing where our ticket booth is, if you look to the right where the fence runs, it will be on this side or the south side of the fence.
That's what I thought. Okay, I
Where
just
you
wanted
just put the new gate at.
Yes, sir, right between that and the rolling gate, you're correct, between that and the rolling gate, yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
Ms. Turner, you had a comment?
I move approval.
Second.
A proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Thank you very much for your presentation. Next item is
Thank you all, everyone.
procurement of
Thank you.
surplus property.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, too, by the way. You didn't get a chance to, Pat Smith, you didn't have a chance to talk, but thank you. Procurement surplus property, Ms. Julianne or Nicole, which one?
Yes, sir, that'd be me, thank you. This is part of our normal process. We've been contacted by 2 different constituents who have offered their properties as donation. One of those has 25 properties, and so she would like the county to take all 25 if we're going to move further forward. Of the 25, 4 of them were found to be useful by Public Works to retain. And then there is another property, a separate owner, which you will see on page 2. You can see the owner's name. That last property is a separate donation in a separate area. Of the total 26, Public Works staff has found 5 of those properties that would be useful for drainage purposes for future or current need. The remaining, if the commission wants to move forward, then staff would recommend that we issue a bid to surplus them out. And the board would set a minimum bid threshold if that's where we want to go.
Thank you. Ms. Wilkerson, you have the floor.
We reviewed with codes enforcements to ensure there's nothing on their side. We have not done anything further to date. Of course, it would be the property owner's responsibility to pay. We did look to make sure there was no back taxes owed. Only the current year taxes still, but that's still in a not overdue state, right? And so the current owner would have to make payment of any relevant property tax prior to the transfer of ownership.
Sure, okay.
Mr. Turner.
Well, I have a lot of respect for staff and what have you. I disagree. I think we should keep more of these if we're going to take them, especially ones up on the south side of Minnesota. They're all wetland in that area. If they ever wanted to widen that road any further than what it is for whatever reason in the future, they're not going to be able to do it because they don't have any real estate there to do it with. And these lots are not going to bring anything when you sell them. They're underwater,
Right.
the ones up there on Minnesota. So we have a program already in the county where when we come up with properties the county doesn't want, we surplus them and sell them. I think Mr. Goddard came up with it several years ago, and it's been very successful. I don't know that we need to be in the business of taking somebody's tax write-off and turning around and selling it for half the money. And I'm not so sure that's not what would take place here. They would take a full-blown tax write-off for donating it to the county, and then we'd turn around after that and sell it for pennies on the dollar they got to write it off for. You know, if we actually have a reason that we want it, I mean, and I don't think when Ms. Cole gave us her recommendation on the 4 lots that we may want to retain, I don't know that she was Ms. Cole, but I don't know that we need to be in business of taking somebody's tax write-off, and that's basically what this is for somebody, is a tax write-off. If we're gonna take it, I think we need to keep it, or at least the ones that could be used for something in the future, like the ones up around. All these are right on the edge of a wetland. If you look on page 231 of your package, they're all around a lake, and a lot of these are just underwater even. So they're not worth a lot of money. There's not even an upland area on some of them. So I don't know that we need to be in the business of taking these at all.
Mr. Turner, I appreciate that. I want to say something along those same lines. You know, a few years back, we bought some properties, 17 lots, basically across from my place for water retention because it was swamp and they were going to go up and someone could try to fill it in and it would really be detrimental to my community over there. So I think you're right. I think if there's something we can do to keep these because they're not going to be valuable anyway and they're going to be wetland, then we can make it a conservation, impact thing like that. Ms. Young, you had a...
Yes, sir. I guess let me back up and clarify. Staff's role is simply to bring you the donation offer from the citizen, and then, as established by the board and past request precedents, was to reach out to various departments and to determine prior to coming to you if they see a need. Staff has no recommendation on whether or not we accept any of these properties or move forward at all. We simply are taking the request of the citizen and bringing it to the board, along with input or recommendation from the various departments on their perspective. We're happy to do anything or nothing, depending on what the board directs.
Well, I'll always go back to the commissioner in that district. So Commissioner Turner, you've got the floor. What's your pleasure?
I just don't know that we need them at all. I think we're gonna end up either owning them and taking them off the tax rolls for no reason whatsoever, because like I said, I know Denise is probably watching this today, and I'm certainly not trying to put words in her mouth, but it was probably that we could use those if we had them but I don't know that we need them to the point that we keep them 4 lots and sell the other 24 in there or whatever, or 23 or whatever it was. So I just don't know why we should take these at all and just turn around and try to sell them for less money than what they're gonna get out of them.
I have some questions.
Yes, Commissioner Wilkerson.
So, have we done this before? Have we taken people's leftover lands?
We've been offered it multiple times. I don't remember one we've taken so far in the 6.5 years I've been here. If it's something that somebody donates that we actually need or want or whatever, or somebody said, you know, I'm gonna give you this piece of property, but I want you to build a park there or an animal services
Right.
building or something, and you do it for that area and the county takes it for that reason, whether we end up being able to use it or not. Like the Beck property out there by the school board, turned out there was not enough upland on it, that it would have cost more money to mitigate the land where we could have put it there than what we could have just built it where we're building it. So, yes, we do the county from time to time does take properties, but it's usually for a specific reason, not just, I don't want this anymore, you can have it now.
Yeah, and I think that's a very valid point. From a real estate perspective, I can remember a time where people would call from out of state and say, hey, I bought a lot in Interlaken Lake Estates, and I'm not picking on you, Larry, but
No, I didn't.
would you list it? And we wouldn't even take listings.
Right.
Because they weren't worth anything at that time. And then if you were to accept them, then you have the responsibility of the upkeep on them, because then you've got people that could come by and dump tires. We've seen that throughout the county already. And so I understand your concerns about that. And I do think that you're right on the ones that are most northerly. Those are definitely, and based on the aerial, definitely wet. But then we're not in the business of conserving wetlands. That's what the water management does. So those are my comments.
Commissioner Pickens, you have the floor.
Yeah, and thank you for the conversation on this. This is now, it's for the first 6 years, it was in Commissioner Turner's district. This part, Hoot Owl Ridge, correct, was District 3. It's now District 1 after we redistricted. But I appreciate Commissioner Turner's expertise on this, because I'm not that familiar with that area. I've been through it a number of times. So I'm not, unless there's really a great value for the county, I don't know that we need to accept these lots.
I just feel like that once we do it, then every person, back to my point on the real estate perspective, every person who wanted to list their land, and there were hundreds of calls you would get in a year at one office from out of state, all those people are going to want to donate their land. So, you just can't, if we had a plan in place that, we're going to take this property and we're going to give it to somebody and they're going to build a house on it and there's some good, affordable housing aspect to it, then I would agree, but I don't even see that being available.
Well,
Mr. Adams,
I'm sorry.
Me too.
So I don't support us taking any property unless our alternative use is a better use case than its current use. And in this case, I don't see that. So I was wholly against it from the beginning.
And Mr. Pickens, and then Mr. Turner, and we'll wrap it up.
Well,
Or Mr. Turner, go right ahead.
Go ahead. The only thing I wanted to say is I'm in complete agreement with Commissioner Wilkinson. I don't think the county needs to be in the business of somebody else's tax write-offs. and clear to these pieces of property that they're donating to us are not worth what they were actually appraised for. Some of them as high as 13,000. I think the cheapest one was like 4,700, and they're underwater and basically worthless to build on or do anything with unless you want to raise minnows. So, point being is, I don't think we should. I don't think we should take these. I just don't think we should go down that rabbit hole. And I'm willing to give a motion whenever Commissioner Pickens is done.
Okay, yeah, and I appreciate the comment about affordable housing, because the AHAC committee soon, I think, in the next few years, will maybe be able to look at that, because we'll be getting more money from the state. We just approved, what, 508,000, but we're still focused, and we have changed our LHAP. I'll update us on that when we get through with it, to have a few more avenues to be able to distribute the money and help more people. But we're not to the point where we can purchase property and actually start building homes. So, but I appreciate that, because when we look at taking some of this property in, I look at that, we're just not there yet. So.
And Commissioner Pickens, thank you for directing me of who the commissioner in that district really is. I appreciate it.
Well, it was his district. I didn't understand why, but it was cut out years ago. So now it's back.
Well, we just.
Well, even if this was a AHAC deal, it wouldn't work on these. These are
Correct.
unbuildable lots.
Exactly, right.
So Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I move that we deny.
The proper motion to, proper second to deny. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. So, motion stands. Thank you. Next item, Thomas, are you here for codes? Brian's here today. Brought in the big guns today. So we're going to do this like we've done them before.
Is there anybody here that, Mr. Chairman, would you find out, is there anybody?
Is anybody in the audience representing any of these codes cases, the three that are listed in our agenda? Okay, so just hang tight real quick. The Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, with regards to case number 2010-00891, I move staff recommendation of $5,286 if paid within 90 days.
We have a proper motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Proper second. Any further discussion?
That one has a tax surplus, so do we need to add any verbiage?
Maybe, thanks for picking that up. That one, that's probably a Rich question, maybe even a Honorable Reynolds question. The tax surplus received of $39,2435 would be taken out before the additional monies of $5286 are paid within 90 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Will the second accept? Oh, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, will your second?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Next case,
Okay, next case is
2019-00123.
yes, sir. With regards to case number 19-00123, there is a tax surplus, so I move that we take $1,756 to clear the codes case out of the tax surplus from the clerk.
Second.
Proper motion, proper second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Next case is codes case 2021-00629.
Okay, my only problem with this one is there was the tax surplus on this is anticipated, but we don't know what that amount is yet. This is to Rich question or to Matt, either one. The recommended enforcement action cost is $1,500, but a surplus anticipated. Could we make the motion that we approve the $1,500 and it be taken out of whatever tax surplus that shows up?
Yes, that's fine, and then we'll deal with it.
And then any additional would be handled just like it is? Okay, that's my motion then, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, proper motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Amzak.
I guess I need to add to that motion that any additional funds over the tax surplus has to be paid within 90 days.
Correct.
Amend my second as well.
Thank you. We got an amended second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Helms, for presenting all those cases to us today. Little levity never hurt anything, right, Commissioner Pickens?
You're exactly right.
Okay, appointments, Mr. Pickens, I'll start with you.
I have none.
Commissioner Adamsack.
I have none. I will announce I am looking for someone for Better Place Plan Oversight. I think that's the only opening I have. The person I had took a new position that just doesn't have the ability to make those meetings anymore. And then the person I thought would be good also doesn't feel like they can make the meetings at the time that is. So we're still looking.
It's hard to find volunteers right now on some of these. Commissioner Turner?
I have none today, sir.
Commissioner Wilkinson?
I have none.
And I have none. Next item on our agenda is public comment on miscellaneous items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow the citizens an opportunity to bring matters to attention of the board. Is there any citizens that would like to speak to us? Do we have any blue cards? And anybody that would like to speak on any miscellaneous items today? And seeing no one rushing to the podium, then we'll get rid of that item on item 10 and go to our Honorable Clerk of the Court, Matt Reynolds.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman
Good morning,
and Commissioners. Just real quick, I'd like to take a moment to thank Tim and his crew with County General Services. I've seen them down there a lot, been running into them on campus a lot, and they go above and beyond to make sure that we have, that we're taken care of, and I just wanted to publicly thank them for that. They do the best they can with the resources they've got, and they're a good crew. So thank you to them. And just as a side note, we're seeing a very big increase in tax deed sales. April sale, we have over 200 coming up that month, which is about twice what we normally do. And we had a tax certificate investor a couple weeks ago walk into the tax collector's office and file to put 400 of theirs to tax deed sale. So we'll have all of those coming forward in 1 month coming up soon. So there's a lot of activity going on.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Mr. Reynolds. County Attorney, Mr. Rich Commando.
Nothing, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Do you miss being called, not called Colonel Commando or General Commando or any?
I appreciate the recognition no matter what.
Okay, I'm just asking. I don't want you to. County Administrator, Mr. Terry Suggs, you have a special one today, right?
Yes, sir, I do. I'll get to that one. Just a couple of things. We brought Mr. Scott Knowles on as county engineer just a couple of months ago. And I tell you, the things that are just churning out of Public Works is absolutely amazing right now. He's doing great things over there. One of the things that we've been working on is, we got the $30 million project from the Army Corps of Engineers on 5 phases of water project. And since Mr. Knowles has been there, we've already had redid the design that we had on the shelf. It's been approved. I believe permitting's been approved by DEP. So we'll be bringing that forward to go out for a bid. And so we'll be able to go ahead and start that project sooner rather than later, which is fantastic. So we can get phase 1 of that program going, get some money back in the conference for that as well. That has already been spent. So kudos to Scott for doing that. The second thing is I had began doing some ride-alongs with county staff, going out looking at different areas. Rode with Mr. Tilton yesterday. No, we didn't just go to District 1. But we will be looking at some things. Just want to get a little more in touch with what's going on countywide. I'll spend some time with Mr. Ladd as well. And as you know, administration rides out quite a bit to look at projects and site visits. So if you don't catch me in the office like Mr. or Chairman Harvey yesterday, please call me on the phone because it does ring and we do have pretty good reception throughout the county. So that's where I'll be a lot, looking to making sure that things are moving forward in the field. And that's only available to me due to the work of Deputy Administrators Young and Grimes. Gives me an opportunity to get my hands on and see what's going on in the community. So I'll thank them as well for that. And
would you be willing to wear a tracker while you're out in the different districts?
Hey, listen, Mr. Grimes, would you verify this?
I think Julie already has a tracker on him, I believe.
As county administrator and city administrator, I actually rode fire trucks and things of that nature with you guys before, right? So,
Well, some of the areas you might want to wear a tracker.
yeah.
Thought you had an Apple tag on you.
He does. We every once in a while we'll get an alert that he's missing, so he does have an Apple tracker tag somewhere.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank y'all so much. Moving right along. Yes, we have. I would like to announce to the commission and welcome some new members to Putnam County. We've got two new members, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Steve and Debbie Masters, have bought a home in Satsuma. And Steve is a retired mechanical engineer, and Debbie is a retired school teacher. So we brought some new residents, not only new residents, but some very good quality individuals as well. I wouldn't just say that if they weren't family, but I'm telling you, it's a blessing to my wife, Julie, to have her brother a little bit closer. And so,
Well, I think it's unfortunate Steve isn't here today where I can give him hell about coming.
Are they willing to serve on any of the boards?
well, that is part of the process. But they've been here just shortly, but they've already attended a couple of functions. And last Thursday they attended the Eddie Mooney dinner with us, and so they're absolutely wanting to become members of our community and active members in our community. And we can't ask for more than that as public servants. So thank y'all.
Welcome to Putnam County.
Welcome to Putnam County.
Kind of like Chuck Clemens would
Yeah.
do. Welcome to the Florida House. There you
Welcome
go.
to Putnam County.
And last but not least, I better do this because I want it on the record. It's within 7 days now, so I can do this. Happy birthday to my lovely wife, Julie, who is also here today. So, and Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments
Is
for
it
today.
7 days ahead or 7 days late?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. I'm always ahead on that
Why
one.
don't you start the singing and we'll join in?
Well, that's okay, boss. We're good.
Happy
sir.
birthday. Good. All right. Anything else from
No,
staff
sir,
or
Mr.
anything?
Chairman, that's good.
All right, we'll start with Commissioner Pickens then for commissioner comments.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Harvey, and welcome to District 1. I won't say exactly where it is, but it is in District 1. So anyway, I just wanted to give you another update. The Crescent City Rotary Club is, after a 4-year absence, we're bringing back the St. Johns River Catfish Festival. A little different this year. It's just going to be a one-day festival from 10 in the morning till 5 p.m., but we'll still have all the offers. We'll have a parade. We'll have live music. We'll have catfish dinners, gator tail, quail, frog legs, strawberry shortcake, and Uncle Buckles, swamp cabbage, who will also have that. And I'll give you some information on helping me do that at a later date, because I know all the commissioners will want to come out and participate in that. We will have kids' activity, a car show, and arts and crafts. So it will be Saturday, April 6th. So, and Commissioner Harvey, or Chairman Harvey, will be our MC. He has graciously offered his services again. So looking forward for a good day and moving that forward in the future. So that's all I have.
And in the South, we say, y'all come.
Exactly.
Y'all come. Commissioner Abzak.
Yeah, there's been a lot of great activities for the past several weeks. Always in the springtime and the wintertime, there always seems like it amps up because it's cooler here, obviously. So get out there, enjoy our community. Plenty of hiking opportunities, fishing opportunities. We had some relatives in town. We went fishing, I think, almost every day. My sons and my dad went somewhere. So it was great. My son caught a 21-inch bass, and he's only 38 inches tall, so that was interesting. From a perspective of growth, and we talked about a little bit with the conversation in reference to impact fees, there is growth coming from the west side of Putnam as well, and they're jumping the opportunities in Alachua. I think part of that is because of some of the government in our neighboring county there, that there's some developers and stuff thinking about getting into West Putnam in both District 5 and 4. So just something for people to be aware of. It's, there's people we talk to that don't want any growth, don't want anything. As a commission, we can't just say no. So it's happening. There are properties being transacted and things happening that we just need to be aware of. So thank you.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that the borrow pit that's stirred up quite the fuss out in the Flora Home area is not coming to the Board of County Commissioners. It's going to the ZBOA. I myself, and the only reason I know that y'all have had contact is because some of the citizens reached out to a bunch of us on the same email. And so I think that the citizens ought to understand that it is not coming to the Board of County Commissioners. It is going to the ZBOA. They are quasi-judicial, and it will be decided there unless appealed to the circuit court. That's just the way it is. The other thing, the last thing, I want to piggyback on Administrator Suggs' comments about Public Works and Scott Knowles. There's very few people that are going to understand how big of an asset that he is to this county. What he's done up to date, and he's been here like 3 hours or something, but what he's done, and I'm being facetious with that, but he's only been here for a very short period of time, but he has already proven to be a valuable asset to this county. Every time we turn around, he's taking a project that would take months and doing it in a matter of weeks. And it's his abilities. And so I just had to not miss this opportunity to piggyback on Mr. Suggs' comment. That guy is going to be a hell of an asset for this county, one of the best hires we've done to date. So, and with that, that's all I have today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Ms. Wilkinson.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised Mr. Turner didn't bring up St. John's Avenue and the fact that we actually have work going on and that it's being resurfaced from Palm Avenue down to, is it South 18th Street? Is that the right address? 19th Street. So, if we was in church, we'd get a hallelujah or an amen or something, right?
Hallelujah.
So we are making progress on St. John's Avenue. It has been a work in progress. What people have to understand, and there was a lot of work that needed to be done underneath that road. We certainly didn't want to spend county tax dollars repaving a road just to have it paved, just to have it, torn back up to fix something underneath. And we saw that happen many years, long before I became a county commissioner, where portions of the road would get torn up. So thank you to staff. It takes it from the procurement to the public works and everybody involved. And so thank you for getting that going, because it's definitely much needed in the community. I have to bring up something that's a little, I'm not asking for any kind of vote or anything, but I want you to be aware, out in the Boswick area, St. John's Harbor, we have a water system, and the citizens have brought it to our attention that water system is it's operational and they're still in the black. However, the people that are running it are basically aging out, and at some point they're going to want to hand that over to us. And so we have to have some kind of conversation. Our staff's gone out and taken a look, and along with Public Works. I wasn't able to go that day. But we're going to have some kind of conversation as to what that future holds. We can either be proactive in the process and have a conversation with them up front, and they can hand us the keys, or some kind of phasing out while they're in the black and everything's operational, or we can say, no, we're not going to help you, and then at some point in the future they're going to walk in and hand us the keys and says it's your problem anyway, because DEP is going to hand it to you, and we're going to have a bigger problem. So we're still looking into it. I don't have a proposal today. I'll work with staff on that, but there is an issue out there, and I just want to make you guys aware that at some point in the future we will have to have that discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Can we check, see if there were any bonds in place when they put that up, and make sure that they don't get away from us if we end up having to take that over, that the bonds that they had to put in place for that system originally to have it actually get paid out to the county if they have to take that over?
Thank you for that.
Speaking, I meant to bring this up a minute ago, and you reminded me of it with your deal talking water. Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, it's come time when we got to raise water rates in Putnam County.
Can we come back to you in just a minute?
Sure.
On that? Okay, Commissioner.
Oh, she was done. I apologize.
No, I have one other
Yeah.
thing. I just wanted to mention that Animal Services held 3 adoption events this weekend with 10 dogs being adopted, and they wouldn't be able to do that without the support of this commission, allowing them to go out on the weekends and do that, but certainly because they're dedicated and passionate about trying to help the animals in this county. So 10 dogs were adopted this weekend, But I do have a question. I want to make sure that we, as a county, are applying for the spay and neuter grant for the annual. I know we didn't get it before, and I want to make sure that we're doing that. Julianne's shaking her head yes.
Yes, ma'am. We're in the process of finalizing that application packet at this time.
Okay. Because obviously that's essential to help slow the population growth that we're seeing in Putnam County that's been such a big nuisance. And I just want to make sure that we're going forward with that. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Turner.
Can I just tag on to what she has said about
Okay.
animal services? I think it's great that you update us on the number of animals that are adopted. I think Animal Services has a Facebook page or something. I think it would be good advertising if they put that out there, like monthly, we adopted out. And I think it has the flip side is if you had a month where you didn't adopt any, but the community, there's people in the community that think that we aren't successfully adopting any dogs, and that's a misnomer. And I keep repeating based on what I hear from the Animal Services and yourself. And if we just were putting that out there proactively, that might be a good thing as well.
Thank you. I agree with that.
And then we could share it as commissioners, right? And I think that'd be good. The other thing I just wanted, and I meant to bring it up in mine, so I apologize for if I can take 1 minute. There was a citizen that brought up the idea of educating people that adopt the animals, and I believe we had a conversation internal just with me, but I'd like for us to consider, and I don't know that it has to be like a course, but at least having a pamphlet of some sort that when someone adopts a dog, I know we do a little bit of this, but where it maybe has a list of all the veterinarians in the county, has a list of best procedures, what the vaccination requirements are, things like that, just so people have something handy that it's a one-pager or something, if we could work on developing it. And I know, Brian, you said you were interested in possibly doing something like that, but I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention that it is something that we've discussed in a short bit of time, and it came from a complaint that really had nothing to do with that particularly, but it was a suggestion that is a valid suggestion on the flip side of that complaint, whether we agree with the complaint or not.
Well, I do know it. I've been to several pet adoption events, and we do have pamphlets that are handed out about being responsible pet owners,
Right.
what your responsibility is, and that's really a huge problem that we're seeing in the county is people aren't being responsible. But I see what you're saying is taking that a step further.
Right, and giving them what the resources are out there, even what the return, if they had to return an animal, what that looks like. I mean,
Right.
just so they have that information all in one spot. So Brian, I don't know if you want to work with me on that, I don't know. So however we do it, I'd love to see something come from staff of an example of what the pamphlet would look like and figure that out. So
Thank you for the conversation, Commissioner.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Good. Commissioner Turner, you want to talk about
Yes,
water?
thank you. We're gonna have to raise water rates. Y'all have charged me with trying to make the East Palaca utility system sustainable. And right now, we charge less money than anybody that I know of anywhere, and we're probably around a third of what they charge in East Palaca at the other utility services. I know that for a home that I own over in Taylor County, it's $97 a month for water and sewer. Right now, for water, we're around $30. We haven't had a raise in probably at least 9 years. You can't buy a shoestring for what you used to buy a pair of shoes for in the last 9 years with stuff that's gone up. It's so high. Now, even all the chemicals that make it use, all the equipment you use, everything, the nuts and bolts of it, we're operating off of a 9-year-old budget. I've reached out to Mr. Grimes, and he's agreed to look into it for me with his water staff to see how long it's been exactly, what the request would be, and it's probably going to be in the neighborhood of, if we're at $32 or $3, it's probably going to be in the neighborhood of about $38 or $9 total, not above. But we've got to have, as part of this plan to make that system sustainable, we've got to have a water increase. Most of the other plan that's been put in place over the years by multiple people is trying to grow our way into sustainability. But and we're doing that with all the additional water lines and sewer systems, and we're able to put these in. But a big part of that's gonna be that we just keep up the rates of what we've already got going on. So that, I think JR said that he thought he could have that information to us within the next month. And so I'm planning on bringing it back to the board and asking for an increase in what we charge everybody for water rates.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, you had a comment?
So today is the first time that I voted yes through consent agenda on a phase of the septic to sewer, right? So, and that was because that phase actually made sense to me. So separate that from this subject, but I do agree that the water rates are really low, and I think the sewer rates are kind of low as well. So I think we should look at both of those and do some sort of comparison. I think if we set it, let's say, whenever this comes back 2 months from now, we set our new rate, I think we do need to look at tying it to inflation in some manner, where it kind of gets automated a little bit. Not obviously we have to approve any increase every year, but where we have a number that comes forth automatically that says this is really what the costs are, whether that's an analysis by our staff of what our true costs are, or it's tied to something like Consumer Price Index or wherever we wanted to do it to, because we shouldn't be not doing it for 9 years. It doesn't make any sense.
That makes sense.
And so I appreciate that you brought this up, and I support that idea fully.
All right, so we look forward to getting back with the Bostwick water system. Commissioner Wilkinson will kind of lead that charge, and Commissioner Turner will do the East Platte water rates. My comments are very simple. County Road 315 North has come along. We're really close to getting that project off the ground. Been some hiccups, but maybe that'll work out very soon, where 315 North and the 2 sections of South will be in there. Would you like to say anything about that, just for our listening public real quick? Because I know that's been a few years in the works, and we'll be glad to get that one moving forward.
So we were actually in email correspondence this morning with FDOT, with Sheriff Magali and Paul Webb. The last thing we're waiting on is the service and pavement marking plans to make sure that everything that's taking place is in the county right away, nothing outside of the county right away. And that scope of work has had to change due to construction increases, obviously. But once they approve that, hopefully this week, and like I said, the designer submitted that this morning, then we'll get approval to go out to bid, and I'm hoping that we can be out to bid in the next couple of weeks.
And let me say this real quick. You know, I kind of got a letter the other day, a nasty gram, if you will, about why is it taking so long. It doesn't have to take that long. We can fund $16 million out of our pocket if we want, but we have a funding partner who wants to spend quite a bit of money, millions and millions of dollars, to go from 100 to Marion County line. So that's what we need, those scrap and SCOP grants. We go up to Tallahassee and we talk to our legislators about funding those. And this is a good project, because truly, to take that kind of money out, we couldn't possibly do it.
Correct.
So yes, Mr. Adams, you had a comment real quick?
The 315 South portion, that's a couple years.
Two of them.
That's a little more, the timeline, that's further out though,
That
right?
starts this coming July
For the
1.
design phase,
For the
we're
design,
getting ready
right.
to do an RFQ for design, because the total projected construction costs are over $8 million, $4 million per phase. So
Okay.
we need to go out for an RFQ on design.
Before we actually did work, it's probably 2 years out. That's kind of what I've
Could be,
been
yeah.
leading people
Yeah.
in the 1.5 to 2
Correct.
year.
Minimum, because it's going to
As
take.
soon
them
as
a
they
year.
started flagging north, I've been getting calls about south.
No, I know.
I'd pay attention to the minimum part that
Yeah.
you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, a minimum on year for design. Once we get the RFQ, that's going to have to be out for 28 days and then go from there.
Right, I've been pushing it a little bit further than that, so
Yeah.
trying to be conservative, but I just wanted an update on that. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And I also want to thank this board. I tell you, it's a joy to be the chairman, and it's a joy to work with each one of you all. I'm going to miss you. We've worked very good together, and especially today, and I kind of knew Commissioner Turner would have to pony up and be part of that process. Now, we all have done lights. We've all done lights. So I do want to bring to your attention on April 13th, you could write it down, because I will be sending you a letter, Save Rodman Bass Tournament will be happening at Kenwood Boat Ramp. And if you're really bored and have nothing to do, the following Monday is a Liberty Night to help the Putnam First Cancer Fund. Some of you all attend to that. And anybody that lives in Florida who runs the heat in the morning and runs the air conditioner in the afternoon, like we did at our house yesterday, It's wonderful to be in Florida in this winter. So if there's nothing else for the good of the order, this meeting will now be